Well, we trapped a perfect player in the Vanarama National League and simulated through to see how far he could take them. Well, today we're doing the same thing, but we're off to Europe and we're heading to Italy. It's a perfect player locked at a Serie C club. How high will they climb? Will they win Serie A? Will they win the Champions League? Let's find out together. Let's go. Paolo Perfetto is today's player, and as you can see, he's got max attributes for everything. He's on his way to Al Hilal in 2053. 30 years we have with him at Monopoly. I don't know why I chose Monopoly, just because it spoke to me. Made me think of the board game Monopoly. Many happy times playing as a child, even though it's a bit rubbish. Francesco Tomei is in charge of Monopoly. In terms of the manager, he's only been there 16 days. In terms of the competitions then, terms of domestic leagues, they've been mid-table in Serie C. They've got as high as third about 4 or 5 years ago. Well, Paolo Perfetto should, in theory, get them up to the promised land. He's 18 years young. He's on £1,000 a week. As I said, he's joining Al Hilal in 30 years' time. It says last club, Oxford City. I used the template of the pre-game editor to facilitate this experiment, and even though I changed him from Oxford City and he'd never played for Oxford City, last club, Oxford City, there. However, go there, not there. So, I don't know what's happened there. So, yeah, that's going to be there for the entire experiment. Ignore it. In terms of his personality, he is professional. I don't know why I've got his hidden attributes at 1. Loyalty at 1 for hidden attributes, because he's the perfect player. He's never leaving. So I don't know why I've done that. Habit, I guess, because I don't like loyalty. I want players to move around, even though I physically stop him moving in this experiment. That's enough of that. So, will he get promoted at the first time of asking? Well, let's jump through and find out, shall we? And they did! They went up as champions. And how many teams go into the playoffs? What the hell is this league structure? So Monopoly went up as champions. Lost 8, 64 goals. Who won the award for Fair Play Player of the Year? Not interested in that. Player of the Year. Paolo Perfetto, of course he did. 33 games, 32 goals, 9 assists, a 7.62 rating. He needs a rest. He's got 17 caps and 14 goals for Italy already. He's the vice captain. He's a key player. Of course he is. And look at that. He's up front on his own. Bloody loving life. 32 and 33 for Monopoly, who are in Italian Serie B. And if we look at the season preview, well, they think they're going to finish 19th. I mean, Paolo, of course, is up front on his own in the Media Dream 11. And if we look at Monopoly, they've only got £500,000 in the bank. They've not managed to sort of generate that prize fund yet. So we might spend a couple of seasons just earning a bit of money while they just bolster out the squad. Paolo should push them on and get them a little bit of prize money. What I would expect is maybe a cup run. They'll probably knock out the odd team that they probably ordinarily shouldn't do because of Paolo's brilliance. So, I mean, in terms of the potential ability and current ability, I mean, only one player over 100. Doesn't look good, does it? Loads in the 90s. So we're going to need some serious movement coming from here. Going to need some serious improvements. They've not got a lot of money to do that at this moment in time. So there's the transfers. Nothing really to speak of. So what we're going to do is we're going to go another singular year to 2025, and we'll see what happens with that. And we'll see how they do in the second season. Well, they finished 7th. Monopoly finished 7th, and only, I mean, what's the rules here? Second and third playoff. So the playoff, Como beat Monopoly. Genoa have gone up. What happens in terms of Serie A? 3 teams go down, so 3 teams go up. I'm not quite sure what the playoffs are all about. 2 teams have gone up last season in the playoffs. League table. Hellas Verona and Genoa. Well, Genoa went up in the playoffs. Anyway, they finished 7th. They're finishing 7th. They got 10 draws, 10 defeats, 55 goals scored. In terms of the award winners, Paolo Perfetto, of course, was Striker of the Year, 26 goals. Top goal scorer? Yeah, 26 goals. 6 ahead of Alberto Seri, and Frank Sajout was back there on 19. Luca D'Andrea was the best player of the year. The Scopigno, whatever the Scopigno means. I've got him on the lead save. Potential ability 133. Ash him while I can then. So, Monopoly this season, the season preview, they're actually going to be 16th, they think. They're now 2.39 million in the hole. They've not got much budget, and they've not got much wage budget either. They've got no vice captain. In terms of transfer history, so last season they spent 83k and out went 13.5k. So it's only lost like £69,500. This season, they've sold £22,500 worth of player, and they've brought in 4 players for nothing. It's going to be a few seasons in Serie B, I believe. So we're going to go through 3 years now to 2028 and see how they are faring from there. So yes, we were last here and they were 7th, and the season after they got promoted. Okay, right, they're in Serie A. And the first season in Serie A, they finished 8th. What the hell? They're going to win the league easily. They're going to win the league absolutely so easily. I mean, 56 points, only goal difference meant they didn't qualify for Europe behind Fiorentina, unfortunately. Oh, here we go, 14th the following season. Okay, so a bit of a reality check. In terms of the season preview, they think they're going to get relegated still. Paolo, of course, is still up top. AC Milan are odds-on favourites. And who has been winning? Well, it's been Lazio, Inter and AC Milan during this experiment. Monopoly have got £16.5 million in the bank, a season budget of 7.06 million. In terms of their squad then, well, that is a massive improvement, isn't it? Considering they had one player other than Paolo over 100, they've now got an entire squad over 100 and climbing. Bit of potential here, people like Lucas Vorlicki. I mean, he's 26, so he might not get to 138. And 139 over here for Simone Pinada, 145 for Pietro Terraccioni, but he's 38, so he won't get there. So yeah, a bit of potential for some of the players, and I'd like to think that they were going to be investing quite wisely. They are spending a little bit of money. Gabriel Zappa didn't do too badly there in the transfer market. Again, didn't do too badly there either. Bringing lots of players in, not selling loads of players for a lot of money, but, it is what it is. Well, they're in Serie A. Francesco Tomei is still in charge, and he's a favoured personnel. Paolo Perfetto is already a club legend, and if we look at his stats, well, 72 goals in 67 caps for Italy, so that's happening, and he's got 142 in 178, 38 assists, so that's 180 goal contributions in 178 games. In terms of Italy, they are currently 3rd in the world ranking, and well, England and Spain have won the Euros during this experiment, and it's been a French World Cup. So Italy haven't won a major tournament despite Paolo's 72 goals in 67 appearances. Well, they're in Serie A and they've survived 2 seasons in a row. I don't think they're going back down. So we're going to jump through to 2033, which will be 5 more years. And we'll see how Monopoly are getting on in Serie A. Have they gone into Europe? Well, we'll soon find out. Let's go and have a look. Okay, so they're still in Serie A, as you can see, and Inter and AC have been winning it over the last 5 years. Inter have just taken it back from AC's stranglehold, to be fair. Let's have a look at the season preview. No, let's go back and look at the last 5 seasons. So there they were in 14th, as we saw, and the following season they did get Conference League football, finishing in 6th, and I'd like to think they might have gone on and won it. Well, they certainly didn't go on and win it because they finished 12th the following season and did not qualify for Europe. Then they finished in 9th, then they've gone and finished in 9th, and then they finished in 8th, getting Conference League football once again. This time, level on goal difference. And then the following season, they finished 10th, again not winning the Conference League. In terms of the season preview, the media think they're going to finish mid-table. Paolo, of course, is still up top. AC favourites to win. Let's go and have a look at the squad, shall we? And the squad, here we go. They are improving season upon season. And as you can see, last time the best player was 132. Well, now they've got probably a dozen players above 132. They've got so many other players in and around that region, 132 and below down to 127, another 6 or 7 good squad options. So we've got a lot of good players here, and they've got a lot of potential. In here, 164 for Romain Ferreira. 25 years old, probably will get there. 148 for Marin Petkov, he's 29, might not get there to be fair, but Leonardo Sturgio, again, 31, not probably going to get there at 154. But they've got some good talent, and I'd like to think that they're going to potentially go on and kick on further. They've only got £3.5 million in the bank, but it looks like they're not overspending, they're not going mad, they're spending slightly more than they're recouping, but it's sensible. It's a 10 million loss per season, and to accelerate yourself through the leagues, you do need to start spending that money, and the best way of doing that is by getting that money back in by selling wonder kids when you've got him for cheap. But of course, this is the AI, they're not going to be able to do that, so I think they're doing quite well. A couple of seasons in Europe, they've not won anything, sadly. In terms of the managers though, why did Francesco Tomei leave? He resigned to go and become the manager of Italy. 133 was his ability. Managers of Italy. So they've had Stefano Pioli. Can't see his ability. Sorry, can't see his ability. Spalletti. Can't see his ability either because they've all retired. Ugh. European International League, that's all they've won up until this point. Paolo Perfetto, of course, is the captain and superstar, 113 and 116 for him. His career stats his goal scoring is not as good as it used to be to be fair. He's only got 278 in 356. I mean, it's still a phenomenal record, but it's not a goal a game, which you'd like to think he would be. I mean, if he had his assists, he's got more than a goal contribution per game. And again, he's getting the golden boots, he's getting all the accolades, he's getting all the awards, but he's not winning trophies. I'm sure he will do though. I'm sure there are trophies in his future, and he's had a golden ball in 2030. João Felix at 32 winning it there, but he won the golden ball ahead of Kylian Mbappe and Jude Bellingham in 2030. That's the only time he's won that. Player of the year, nothing there. Footballer of the year, yeah. So he's won it just the once up to this point, but they're now expected to finish mid-table. They're starting to bring some better players in. So yeah, I think another 5 years they're probably going to be there or thereabouts, getting in Europe, maybe even challenging for the title. So let's jump those 5 years right now, see how he's getting on. So as a snapshot, we see AC Milan have dominated the last 5 years, unfortunately. And the last time we were here, they were in 10th. Well, the following season, they did get Conference League football back up in 8th. AC Milan losing just the once against Lazio all season. AC Milan must have an absolute super team. Again, Monopoly falling back down to 11th. So we've hit mid-table obscurity, and it's like they sometimes kick on and progress, but sometimes they just falter. And I think every season they get into Europe, there's too many games for the squad. They can't quite keep up. And we're going to run out of time. Will he get a Serie A before the time's out? I'm sure they will. I think they will, because at some point the prize money, they will catch up. And here we go, Europa League football this time. The first time they got into the Europa League, Juventus getting Champions League football from 7th. Clearly won the Europa League. And this is in 35-36. Monopoly's highest finish to date. True to form, they've fallen down to 9th, so they can't cope with the demands of European football, which is very interesting. Are they trying to put all their eggs in the basket of playing well in Europe, and Paolo plays in those games where they have to sometimes bring him off or rest him in the league games, which then of course leads them to potentially fall away and lose ground on the chase back? Or is he playing more tired? Either way, something is happening. And again, the following season, 37-38, which is the present day, they have got themselves into the Europa League by finishing in 6th. Well, if we have a look, Kike's in charge. We'll look at the managers. Ruben Amorim left after just over a year. He's now in charge of Palermo. Look at the senior squad then for them, and yeah, they're starting to move forward up into the 140s, 150s. I think we had a couple there last time, but look at this. 161 out of 170 for Federico Musi, 22 years old. He should, in theory, hit 170. World-class talent. Paolo Perfetto then at 33, 158 goals for Italy in 179 caps. And quite a few other players in the 140s, a bit of potential there. Don't think he's quite going to make it. He's already 25. He might do. Late bloomers and all that jazz. But as you can see, there's quite a bit of potential coming on here, and there's quite a bit of time for them to go and get it. Like this guy, Yves Ngumu, only needs to get 8 more attribute points at 23 years old. He should, in theory, get there, especially with 15% professionalism. So I'm a bit, I don't know how to feel. I feel I'm a bit underwhelmed by how they've sort of how they're doing at the moment, really. If we look at the profile, the £10 million in the hole, nearly £11 million in the hole. In terms of transfers, overspending. So they brought in a load of money here. They sold Roman Ferreira to AC Milan for £78 million. Now, he did play for Inter, and he moved to Monopoly for just under 10 million, 9.5 million. The loan fee was 1.5 as well. It basically cost him £11 million, and he got 71 back. So that's a very good bit of business. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing the benefits of that. They've spent £33 million here. Is that strengthen the squad? I mean, I'd argue, yeah, but I'd also argue not so much, because they're still treading water, 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. Where's the 3 steps forward, no steps back? Because again, they're just spinning their wheels, really. Spinning their wheels. That being said, the media now think they're going to finish in 9th. So they are moving up slightly. So it's 2038. Well, I mean, we're 15 years away from where he's going to leave, so we're just going to do 5-year jumps, 5-year intervals, right? So let's go to 2043, and come on, surely we've got to be better off than 9th. And after the Europa League, I bet they fall out of Europe. Oh, they got 8th, and they've qualified for the Conference League. So is that... Look at Cagliari. What are they doing up so high? They won Serie B in 2031-32, and then they've just been a couple of seasons in Serie A, and then they got themselves in the top 4. They had a Sugar Dodiona Tycoon takeover in 2026. There you go. We'll keep an eye on Cagliari then. I'm interested in that. Do they win a league? I'd like to think they will. So AC Milan, of course, winning it again. We finished in 8th, which means we got Europe 2 seasons in a row, which I think is the first time that's happened in the experiment. Can you go 3 seasons in a row? It can. It's Europa League football again. Having been in the Conference League last time, there's a chance we won it, but we've qualified for the Europa League automatically via the league. Lazio getting Champions League football from 7th. They've clearly won the Europa League. We're now getting Europa League football from 7th. So we're getting Europe every single season now. So we're moving up. And now, for the first time in the experiment, in 2041-42, Champions League football for Monopoly. Money is on its way in. Cagliari in 2nd again. How many times? Cagliari in top 4 for the last few seasons. And in the most recent season, we finished 4th. We've actually climbed ahead of teams like Cagliari, who got Europa League football. They won the Conference League? Or they won the Italian Cup? Yeah, the Italian Cup. Europa League football for the Italian Cup winners then. Champions League qualification for the 2nd year running. And we're only 4 points off the pace of Milan for the league. So I'm actually really impressed at that. Kike doing bits of work for them here. In terms of cup wins, they've got 5. They've won a UEFA Super Cup. So they've won a European trophy, ladies and gentlemen. They've won. Not only have they won the Conference League in 2040, they've won the Europa League in 2042. Hey, I'm happy at that. Look at that. Conference League. Beating Juventus in the final. Oh, coming runner up to Newcastle in the 40-41 season. Deary me, that's... Ooh. So things are starting to happen. No Coppa Italia, unfortunately. But Serie A is the 2nd best league. AC Milan have dominated over the last few years. What's the season preview saying? Well, the season preview is saying 6th. They think we're going to finish 6th, which is fair. I'm happy at that. Look at this. AC Milan have got the entirety of the Media Dream 11, basically. Certainly the back 5. The world-class goalkeeper, Christian Milano, playing for Inter Milano. Oh dear. That was rubbish, wasn't it? Never mind. The squad for Monopoly is as such. Well, I think we've hit a sort of ceiling. 150s and 140s is sort of where we're at. We've got Charlie Rhodes here, who can get to 169, 21 years young. Again, not overly impressed. What's the transfer business been saying? So, yeah, we saw... Oh, nothing there. 130 million out, 95 million pound in. So they spent big on, they spread it around, which is quite nice. Federico Musi, who came through the Monopoly youth team, they sold to Barcelona for 118 million pounds. That's impressive. I'm happy at that. Following season, again, a bit of a selling club. Rusmin Kodro, who went to Real Madrid, who, let's have a look. AC Milan bought him for 5.25 million from Roma, who paid 1.1 million for him. We got him for free and sold him for 64 million. So in terms of financial prowess, Monopoly are doing everything right. It's just they're not reinvesting in enough wonder kids for my money. Carlos Alberto, 24 years old. He's now listed. I mean, he spent £15.5 million on this player. Poor reinvestment. That's the problem. Spending another £35 million there, 8.5 in. It's, it's not good enough, is it? £13 million in the bank, £2 million wage budget, season budget of just under £27 million. They've got 10 years left to go and win Serie A. That's the minimum I expect from them. I expect them to win a Serie A. I'd like a Champions League. The fact we've got the Conference League and Europa League already is great, but I want a league, an Italian Cup, and the Champions League. So let's go through 5 more years and see how things are getting on. Apparently there's rumours of a potential board takeover. So we were last here in 4th, and the following season, slipped down to 6th, getting Europa League football, which is sickening. Means no Champions League win, of course. Then up in 4th again, getting the Champions League. Lazio beating AC Milan to the title. 96 points, that's great points total. Then back down in 6th. Cagliari up again in 2nd. I mean, they're not managing to break down the barriers of AC Milan, and neither are we. We're down in 6th. We've just hit a level here, and we're just skirting around this 3rd to 7th position, really. Every single season. And there you go, 6th again, back-to-back seasons. 7th, getting Champions League football, so that's another Europa League win. So at least we've won a trophy. At least we've won another trophy. There it is, the Europa League 2042 and 2048. Pablo Barrios in charge. Kike resigned after nearly 10 years to go and become the manager of FC Porto. He actually went to become the manager of Spain. Why did he leave Spain? Sacked. Of course he was. £112 million in debt. That's not good, is it? There were £112 million in debt, and then, £60 million there. Manuel Calero, not a bad player. Not a bad player at all. But £59 million, meh. Marquee signing, I suppose, not too bad. They're not not been spending too lavishly, so £112 million in the hole is a bit concerning, to be honest. Charlie Rhodes did get to the 169 potential, and if you look down, you've got Manuel Calero at 158. You're in the 150s, in the 140s, but again, just stagnating as a squad. He's obviously retired from international football with Italy, so let's have a quick look at his milestones. Named in the Italy seasonal best 11, but he's not won any trophies with Italy. Italy are trophyless, apart from the International League winners. Who cares about that? Not I, said the Walrus. Peep show. So they've not won the league. They've not won Serie A. They've not won the Champions League. Barely even in the Champions League, to be fair. 2 Europa Leagues. So doing considerably worse than Oxford City did. Spoiler. And they had to go up further. But it's the amount of money in the English game. The amount of money the money that would have got funneled into them, and he would have been enough to get them up to Championship in the Premier League, and then prize money would have been insane. So much shows you, even though it's much more competitive in England and how difficult the teams are to play against, much easier to get there because you've got the money, you've got the financial backing, you can go and get the players, and you can recruit well. He's been retrained as number 10, and he's also been a makeshift defensive midfielder. In terms of his career, I'm going to be in the way here, so let me move to left-hand side. Been a long time since we did that, gang. 852 games, 660 goals, 214 assists, 182 player of the matches, and he must have had an injury this season. 5 months, fractured skull. Yeah, dearie me, bless him. Well, bless him. He's not real. Right, let's go through to 2053. That's going to be it. 2053 is where we're going. So yeah, they won the Europa League and then Champions League again. The following season, getting Europa League football, finishing in 5th. Then Champions League football, finishing in 4th. Interestingly, 6 teams getting Champions League football. AC Milan just been dominant in this experiment. 4th again. We've not got long left. 3rd. Oh, goal difference. Goal difference for Inter and AC Milan. As if 94 points. Still 17 points off the pace. Not good enough, is it? 3rd. And this is it. That's it. 4th. That's the last season. And Inter Milan have just won the league. And that's it. No leagues. No leagues for them. No Coppa Italia. No more European trophy. Paolo Perfetto. Joining Al Hilal for £100 million. How are Monopoly going to spend that money? They've got £78 million in the bank. And yeah, the squad hasn't really improved since we were last here. Charlie Rhodes is still the second best player. João Fernando has been brought in, is 22 years old. If he hits his potential of 165, fine. But ultimately, I'm quite disappointed at the results of this, because I just thought they'd do much better with a perfect player. Because you give 30 years. In England, you got to get 4 promotions. Here, they had to get promoted from Serie C to Serie B, and then Serie B to Serie A. So 2, half the amount of promotions you'd think they'd get there. But the prize money, the money that's in the Italian game, is nowhere near what it is in the English game. And you can see it. And the Italian league is the second best league. 3rd best league now. I mean, in terms of Champions League, Inter have just won the Champions League. But it's been a lot of English teams going through. And yeah, I don't know. Disappointing, really. They're going to get £100 million. Let's have a quick look at them. We'll come back and we'll look at the Golden Ball and all that jazz in a moment or two. But we're going to quickly jump through to where I've simmed to, so we can see what Monopoly did with the money and whether they managed to actually go on and win a league finally, even without the perfect player. Well, they're still in Serie A. They have not won a league at all. It is now the best competition rated in the world. They're rated to be 100 to 1 on to go up. They've got less than £20 million in the bank. In terms of the competitions, 2053 is when he was last here, 4th. And then ever since, they went down, finishing 20th in the 57-58 season. A couple of seasons it took them to get back up, and they did. And they've managed to stay mid to lower mid-tables since. It's just been a bit of a wet fart, hasn't it, this last 20 years of the experiment. It started off promising, and I thought we're going to sort of gently move up, and it's like 3 steps forward, 2 steps back to the point where we would actually win a Serie A. Just never got there. We hit that ceiling of getting into Europe, and that was it. Let's have a look at the Golden Ball then. Did he win any more? So he won it in 2030. He then won it again in 33 and 35 and 37. So he sandwiched in between, sandwiched around Bukayo Saka, Matthias Tell, and that. So he's won 4 Ballon d'Ors. Player of the Year, Marvin Al-Hadji was a good player, wasn't he? Won the World Player of the Year for literally 9 years in a row. Paolo Perfetto. So he's won like 5 Player of the Years. In Football of the Year, he won 3 in a row there, fair play, and another 5. So that's it. So he won a few Player of the Years. He never did anything in terms of winning Serie A. Didn't win many trophies. Won a little bit in Europe, but a bit disappointing, to be honest. A bit disappointing as a striker, because that's what we did in England. So maybe we're going to go back to England and do a different position. Maybe a goalkeeper. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this and any sort of variations of this that you do, any countries you'd like to see me try it in, because I'm all ears. Because yeah, whilst they didn't make it, it's actually very interesting that they didn't make it. Maybe other countries would. Who knows? Let's see. Any other type of experiments you want to see though on the channel, please do let me know. As of course you've seen, if you've not been here, if you've been here before, you will see that we are motoring through all the personalities with Wonder Kids and all that jazz, and doing some attribute breakdowns as well. So any other ideas for those, let me know. Any other ideas completely off the wall that are nowhere near anything that I've done on the channel, let me know. If it's doable and I like the idea, I will do it. Other than that, yeah, subscribe to the channel, like the video, all that jazz. Don't even know if I've said subscribe to the channel earlier in the video. So yeah, if you've got all the way to this point and you haven't, please do subscribe. I want to keep that momentum going. I want to keep the growth growing, and yeah, keep this outro in, I guess. Take care of yourselves, gang. I'll see you soon.